Welcome back. So the National Prosecuting Authority, or NPA, has written a letter to the representation of the accused on the Estina Dairy Farm case, informing that it intends to provisionally withdraw charges. The NPA says they can reinstate the prosecution once the investigation has been finalised and all outstanding information obtained. The NPA has already lost 2 court cases related to the Estina Dairy Farm, with the court ruling that they had failed to provide enough evidence to substantiate the allegations. Now, both in the preservation order and the restraint applications. Patricia Kopane, the head of DA in the Free State, is here with us in studio so we can get their reaction to all of this. Thank you very much for coming in and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much, Leanne, and thank you so much for having me this morning.
It's an absolute pleasure. So let's first get the reaction. When you heard that the charges have been provisionally dropped by the NPA, what was your reaction yesterday?
Leanne, to be honest with you, I was very much disappointed. For me, where I'm sitting right now, I think it's an insult to the people of the Free State, is an insult to the people of Friede, especially those who are the beneficiaries, who are supposed to have benefited out of this. But we all know it is only the Gupta families and the officials in government and the politicians who benefited out of everything. In my mind, where I'm sitting, it is clear that the NPA, they don't have the political will to fight corruption, or they do this deliberately, nobody knows, or are they captured, or we can even say that is an incompetence, they are irresponsible. But it is up to the President of South Africa now to come and appoint people who will really take the leadership. But it is clear that the NPA is in shambles. It is not even the first time. If you remember, for the past 2 years, both the current MECs in the Free State, that is the MEC of Arts and Culture, that is Matabo Lieto, and Benny Malakwani, who is the current MEC of Agriculture, they were charged with serious fraud and corruption. But the very same NPA, they failed to provide evidence to the court of law. As a result, the Bloemfontein court, they dismissed the matter because there was not enough evidence. So this is something that we see it happening.
Yeah.
So we are
it's not
very
a
much
one-off occasion. You've seen this happening before.
Yes.
Having said that, I mean, if we do come to some form of defence to the NPA, they say that this is just provisional because they weren't able to meet the deadline, which was coming up tomorrow, and then again next week. I think it was meant to be going back to court. So they're saying that it's not. They are going to pick it up. They are going to continue with it. Does that give you a little bit of hope?
There is no hope at all. The reason why I'm saying this, you must remember, as the Democratic Alliance, we reported the matter in 2013 to the Public Protector. By then, it was Thuli Madonsela. When she left the office, we were told that the report is complete. But when Busisiwe took over, she started again. And when the report came out, you know what is the funny thing? She never interviewed the beneficiary who are at the center of this project. She never interviewed any of the beneficiaries. She never interviewed the politicians who are the mastermind behind the scam. Not at all. In other words, what she decided to do, she chose to protect the politicians. She failed her constitutional responsibility to protect the people of South Africa, to protect the people of Friede. But she protected the politicians. That's why the DA, what we did, we took the matter to court, to Pretoria High Court, to say that her report must be put aside, it must be reviewed, because she was not prudent when she did her job. I fail to understand when NPAs, they say they don't have enough evidence. My leader, Musi Maiman, last year, that was in June, she submitted an indictment legal document with more than 200 pages. That was a prima facie evidence that indicating how Msebenzi Zwane, the Gupta family, and everyone was involved regarding this Friede dairy project. That was an evidence. Our submission also indicated that the very same project, it was signed right in the office of the former premier, that is Ace Magashule. And the National Treasury, something that people forget, they don't talk about it. In 2014, the National Treasury of South Africa, they've done forensic investigations regarding this project. And it was clearly said that this project, it was illegal because they never followed the right processes. It was only signed in the office of Ace Magashule. They said the project was illegal, and they said that project must be stopped with immediate effect. But guess what happened? And those people who were implicated, there must be discipline. That was the report. But guess what happened? The government of the Free State, they decided to ignore the report from the National Treasury. Instead, they took additional 32.5 million through the Department of Economic Development. They appointed a company by name of ETSO to come up with the turnaround strategy regarding Estina, the illegal project. Additional to that, the Department of Agriculture in the Free State, they put additional 20 million into the project. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah. So there's a lot to be accounted for. This evidence that you're talking about, where did you get the evidence from?
Elian, you need to understand, when we started the project, we are the members of the provincial legislature. I'm a member of parliament. We did our oversight responsibility in the legislature. We asked questions in the legislature. During the committee, the portfolio committee of agriculture, public account in the legislature, myself in the National Assembly, we asked questions.
So you have gotten this information all by yourselves, and the NPA have this. You've handed it over.
We handed it over even to the Hawks. Everything
has anything
is there.
ever come of this information that you've handed over?
Even that, like I said to you, Musi himself handed over the report.
200 pages, as you said.
Musi even went to see the public protector to say, this is the report. So everybody has the evidence. We gave the evidence, but we failed to understand why they are dragging their feet to make sure that those who are accountable, they must face them, they must go to court.
Now, I know that you approached the court, the DA approached the court last month, and this is about the public protector basically saying that Patricia Kopane did not comply with section 182.1 of the Constitution. When is the verdict coming out on this one?
Fortunately, I was there in the court. Unfortunately, the judgment is not yet out.
Yeah.
The only hope for us as the Democratic Alliance, it is still the court of law, because the public protector failed the people. Even the provincial legislature, last month, my colleagues in the legislature, they've written a motion to say to the ANC, let's invite all the politicians who were implicated in this matter to come and account in front of the Joint Committee of Public Account and Agriculture. Guess what the ANC did? ANC, they taken a decision to outvote at us, because why? They don't want those people to come and account before the committee. In other words, they failed their constitutional responsibilities to make sure that the executive account to them. That's what they did. But they decided to protect the executive not to account in front of the committee.
What the NPA are saying, however, is, obviously, I mention it again. This is not forever. They're saying they're postponing it, but this is going to be picked up. And the reason that they're giving is that they're saying that international counterparts are delaying their investigation. We're talking India, we're talking the UAE. They need vital information with regards to banking that they can't get their hands on. That's what they are saying. Is it understandable? Is that a feasible reason for you?
For me, they are reasoning really. I'm trying to think about when I'm sitting here. Really, they are not convincing.
And as you say, this has been going on since 2013.
Since 2013, Lian. So why are we dragging our feet? You must remember, our democracy was founded on the rule of law, where no one's supposed to be above the law. And it is the responsibility of government to protect the public. But in this case, it is clear that our own government, even the institution, they are not doing so to protect the people.
Yeah.
Let me make an example. Currently, we're dealing about the land expropriation without compensation. If this project of a free dairy project was well implemented, that was going to be a classic example of how people can benefit in terms of land reform. That was going to be a classic example. But you know what? Do you remember what the former president, Ntata Motlanthe, said with the high panel report? They say that a land reform in this country, it's not implementable. Because why? Corruption, money is being channeled to the elite. It's exactly what happened to this free dairy project. People never benefited. That was going to be a classic example how people can benefit, land reform can benefit the people, those black people who were never part of our economy.
Yeah. And
yes.
still no justice in all of that. Now,
exactly.
All of the people that have been implicated in this, we saw them appearing in court. They, of course, had to then pay bail, and now the NPA are actually refunding the bail, and they're paying them back, and they are basically off the hook. I mean, could this jeopardize the investigation even further? I mean, let's talk about the repercussions of that. For now, they're basically off the hook. There are no charges over them.
No, definitely the whole thing of NPA is to make sure that the Guptas and the politicians, they get away. That is the example that we faced before us.
Even with President Ramaphosa now working, as we are led to believe, tirelessly to ensure that people are held accountable, that we do get a new NPA head in, do you think that'll assist? If you had to look at the 5 candidates running for NPA, do you think one of those candidates coming in could turn the NPA around and we'll finally see justice in some of these cases?
Leon, you know, when you started with the president himself, you still remember there's this, he's alleged also to have used the public money for his own campaign. So it's still one is still asking, do we still trust the system of government as it is now? I'm still questioning, or is he still looking for somebody in the NPA who will come and protect him, like what the former president did? That is a question that we're asking ourselves here. So, but it is up to now the people of South Africa to make judgment how this government is failing to protect the taxpayers' money. Because with the whole scam or the whole project, it is clear that it was just there not to milk the cows so that the people of Friede benefited, but it was to milk the taxpayers' money. Yeah. But if the president is a man of integrity, I think now he must put his interests aside, despite what is being alleged or the allegations against him, and get a man or a woman who will be able to stand up and defend the South African people. That's all that we are looking for. The people of Friede, they want justice, of which, in my mind, where I'm sitting, it is far from that. But I still hope that the High Court in Pretoria will come with a better judgment, because that is the only hope that we have.
Your next step now, very quickly, what is your next step? Now that they've put this case on hold, it's, the charges have been withdrawn, what are you as the DA going to do?
Currently, the Democratic Alliance, my colleague that is advocated, Glenys Breitenbach, she will definitely take the matter with the NPA, that is the acting director there, to make sure that the matter is taken into account. And secondly, we're still hoping that the court of law will be the one to bring justice into this matter. But at the Democratic Alliance, we are not going to rest until justice is done. Those who are accountable, they must be held accountable. That's what we are going to do.
All right, we'll leave it there for this morning. Thank you very, very much for talking to us here on the programme. From the DA perspective, we've got Patricia Kopane talking to us about those, the NPA saying that they are going to drop the charges at this point, on the postpone it, we should say, that they're going to hopefully pick it up, Estina Dairy Farm case. We are going to be talking to the NPA after this, regional spokesperson, Paladi Shopping, and that'll be in the news after 7 o'clock. Thank you very, very much for being our guest.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Leon.
we'll take a break. We'll see you after this.